This is pro wrestling personified. Tonight, MJF, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, took on Bryan Danielson in a 1-hour fight to the finish Iron Man match. And by God, we have witnessed pro wrestling personified. I mean, outside of all the other matches that you could say were pro wrestling personified, but still. I made this comparison a while back where I called what WWE does is Hollywood spectacle. AEW can do Broadway theater. And by God, what we witnessed was Broadway theater personified. Damn it. MJF and Bryan Danielson have had a very turbulent history. And starting all the way back in November, when Bryan Danielson had to witness his mentor, his good confidant, the father he never had. Well, sort of. I don't know if his relationship. Well, rest in peace to his dad. But that's beside the point. We had to witness the father figure of his, Sir William Regal, get total knocked out by MJF with brass knuckles, and came to his aid as he was carted off into the night of WWE Executive Board members. Yeah, so MJF can at least say he's copying Randy Orton's stint where he was knocking people out at WWE and landing them in AEW, so he can at least say that. And Bryan swore revenge as he went to his father figure and tended to his wounds, because he has a history of neck injuries. Glad they had to play that up. Moving on. And then when MJF finally had to defend his title, Bryan Danielson returned with vengeance in his eyes. Vengeance! And gold. And winter is coming. And hell broke loose. Hell broke loose. For you see, heading into the revolution, Bryan would undergo the MJF gauntlet of trials and had to endure some of the best pro wrestling matches in the world to get through to this. Now, if you told him to stop doing diving headbutts, he probably would have won. MJF would have won and never had this match. And we got this bloody crusade on Bryan's warpath, like very bloody, to the point that I'm kind of convinced he is trying to compete with Jon Moxley for fetish. And I said this on the ATW View impromptu with Noah Foster, James, and King, that I called it. MJF, Bryan, Hangman, and Moxley were backstage, no doubt, thinking we're gonna tap our blood gore fest into end all blood gore fests. And sure enough, they did. And it was delectable. So I'm pretty sure vampiric bats are interested in their blood. And Bryan Danielson and MJF took it up a notch in their 60-minute Iron Man Shakespearean tragedy. The hero of the story falling to the mighty villain in his cunning ways. And also pissing everyone off when he went ahead and, beat him with his own finisher. I'm sure that didn't piss anyone off. But MJF and Bryan delivered a technical quality classic Cynic mat wrestling match. It was crisp, it was hot, it was glorious. And MJF threw water at a kid. At least I hope that was water. because if that was beer, I have multiple questions besides MJF being an asshole. For this gold, for the biggest title in wrestling, I mean, like, there's the Universal title in WWE, but let's be real, Cody's destined to take that. I'm like, at least, I'm hoping at least that with Vince gone, I can at least hope that we'll see MJF and Cody together in the ring, together somewhere, and they just toast their belts together and be like, we did it, and whatnot. That would be freaking awesome. Let's do it. If Cody sees this, man, can you at least give me credit for the idea? Come on, man. I need a win here. Like, Tony Khan won't pay me for swerving our glory. Swerving the glory. But moving on from my demanding royalties, or at least any semblance of credit, this set piece that we got, glorious. Though I do bring up the, diving headbutt. Can you please stop doing that, Bryan? Like, for God's sakes, we don't want another incident where it happened a decade or two ago, nearly 2 decades ago. We can't afford another one. And or permanent brain damage, like he narrowly avoided it. Seriously, just do a frog splash, man. But yeah, MJF and Bryan. Oh, and MJF is a gusher in blood sports match. Turns out he gushes a lot of blood. I'm pretty sure Moxley's looking at this and it's like, that son bitch, that lucky son bitch. He was born a gusher. Got to know the secret to his powers. And I'm sure Bryan was like, and whatnot, because I can make all the jokes I want about Bryan's incredibly horny ways. Oh, yeah. Especially when he was bleeding first, so I'm pretty sure he was at least happy. I bled first in this match. Yes! 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 And we can say all the innuendos we want. And MJF came out to a classical orchestra entrance with violins and cellos. Oh, it's because he's the devil and he needs to be sophisticated. And they went at this for 60 minutes, and then they went into overtime. And when they went into overtime, and I was like, oh god, they're gonna do it again. I also believed this was gonna happen. They were gonna go overtime, mostly because Bret Hart's still a massive fixation of history for them. I do not, because Bret Hart is apparently the true founder of all elite wrestling. He exists. And they went at this, and at the last minute, Bryan had him in the crab, in the Boston Crab, or one arm, or one. Damn it! Sorry, I'm tired. He had him in a crab submission maneuver, and MJF was holding on. He managed to get to the deadline of the 1 hour mark, and Tony Schiavone, with the orders of Tony Khan and Bossman TK, that this match will be continued in sudden death rules. And they let for another 5 minutes and 20 seconds. I had to look up the time. They tore it down for another 5 minutes, and then MJF had hoped to use the diamond in the match. Then he lost it, and much to his anger and despair, then he was like, "No, I am not giving up, even if I break my hands in my balled up fists. I will not surrender." So I'm going to use my middle finger to go ahead and grab onto the rope, because that was a genuine F you to everyone, and tap out as psychological warfare. I'm going to hide under the ring I'm gonna hide outside the ring. Bryan looks like he thought he won until Bryce had to tell him, yo, MJF is tricking you, man. And then we see MJF holding the oxygen tank, grinning perversely. Like, oh yeah, we're doing this, bitch. And wham! He goes ahead and takes down Bryan Danielson with it at the top, the piece de resistance in this blood feud. MJF applies the label lock onto Bryan freaking Danielson. Bryan looks like he's gonna be TKO'd by submission, and he does it. He's holding on. The yes chants are getting back up there. Yes, 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 yes. Bryan's rallying. MJF is like, no, this cannot be. No, this does not compute. But Bryan gives out, and the shock of all shocks, he taps out. He tapped out. MJF can now brag he made the American Dragon tap out. Now, I'm about to make a morbid comparison, but this would be like if Triple H made the legendary Chris Benoit, more infamously nowadays, the infamous Chris Benoit tap out in a match. It would have been like, I should be like you now. That son of a bitch is cheating. He's breaking the rules here. Can they do that? Can they do that? This is crazy. And all that. But yeah, MJF retained the title in Mortal Kombat. And he got the Dragon to submit. I'm pretty sure Chris Jericho's thinking, did good. Did good. Then Eddie Kingston's probably like, good. Soon I will return and take my rightful place as the champion of champions. Oh, yeah. Honestly, I wish in a better world, WWE would allow themselves to put aside their problems for Tony Khan and be like, hey, do you want to, can we bring it, you can have William Regal for just this one night, have him come out and announce the sudden death match, much to MJF's anger, and we will be perfectly okay with that. Like, if William Regal wanted to stay, I think they would have had him return that night doing that. Make the announcement of, this match is now set for overtime. It would have been perfect for that. He would have been like, this match is now sudden death rules. Come on, let's be real. He would have screamed that out with a microphone. And it would have been glorious. It would have been one time, but it would have been perfect. And now MJF retained the AEW title. Bryan Danielson, we don't know what his future holds now. I suspect he and Moxley are going to take a break. Moxley especially, since he's worked the last remainder of 2022 beyond his planned vacation. And the American Ace has certainly deserved a break. Bryan, I don't know what he's going to do. He's been getting a call out from Zack Sabre Jr. over in Ring of Honor since that came back this week. And yeah, I don't think this is the last we'll see Bryan Danielson in AEW, but I think he's going to take a little break. Definitely not go to Land of the Rising Sun and raise hell there with his bloody crusade against the Japanese pro wrestling scene, and do what he wants. Definitely not that. That's right. I'm like, maybe. But yeah, I am excited to see what happens next. We don't even get a tease of who MJF is going to fight next. We're just left to suspense since Double or Nothing's about 2 months away. So, the city that never sleeps, man. No way, I think that's New York. Sin City, let's go with that. the house always wins, and I will hopefully talk about that as soon as I can. Oh yes, MJF can now prove that he has the heart, the will, the guts, definitely the guts, to shred and to destroy himself, to prove to the world that he is the best at what he goddamn does. Plus, he beat the American Dragon by submission. Even Roman didn't do that, I think. Like, he submitted him by knockout, but, like, tap him out. That's the bigger disgrace. Roman couldn't do that. Yeah. But, yeah. Oh, man. And MJF then touted earlier, reportedly said, oh, I can't wait to go to WWE. And even the wrestlers in WWE were like, yeah, sir. Their hope that WWE at least has their like after this, MJF stock has gone up, especially since the bidding war of 2024 is fast approaching. AEW better have some goddamn resources ready for this. Plus, the game will hopefully be out before 2024, since they already have a team ready with Molotov cocktails involved, because that's the thing now. God damn it, Kenny! What the hell? Is this your next big plan in AEW? Molotov cocktails? Go Grand Theft Auto style Nick Gage on their asses? He says not, because I'm pretty sure you'll get in trouble again after the Moxley feud you had with him years back. More so, since we'll be causing a high firing hazard. More so. Oh man. There are so many people MJF can fight now. After this, he's beaten G.O.A.T and Moxley. He was having a subtle feud. He was having a secondary feud with Konosuke Takeshita. Konosuke Takeshita. So they'll probably revisit that down the road. Plus we got Kenny Omega weighing in the wings, and we can get Malachi Black. We can get anybody. We can revisit Sammy Guevara, though we would have to turn him face, and everyone hates that idea. How about for a filler feud, you have Action Andrade take him on. That would be a good match, I think. So yeah, let's do that. We could also revisit Darby Allin, but yeah, and plus we could finally do what clearly was likely the original plan before Punk came in and, you know, flipped the table over all the plans that they initially had before he signed, where Punk would become champion. They were probably, I firmly believe that had Punk not showed up in AEW or came later, MJF was going to dethrone Hangman at All Out, and the dreams would be shedding tears. Still saying Eddie Kingston should win at Full Gear, but that's a different matter, and plus he quit, so we'll have to see where that goes, with Ring of Honor and all that. Oh, man. Oh, man. A night of insanity, bloody passion, bloody pro wrestling personified tonight. All for this glorious beauty. But we'll see what happens next in pro wrestling. I'm your host, Eric Brown of NRE The WrestleVerse. Looking forward to seeing you all again. Stay tuned for more. Subscribe, check my contents all over YouTube, Twitter, Anchor.fm. We'll see you all again next time. Look forward to it, and peace out from your host of NRE, Near Reality Entertainment, The WrestleVerse.